الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
The England team, people are discussing it like paragraphs on BBC websites, videos, podcasts. People are discussing whether Trent should be playing in midfield or he shouldn't be playing in midfield. Many famous Muslim footballers have raised issues, whether it's the Uyghurs, whether it's the issues happening in Palestine, and they've been shut down. Sports makes people a lot of money, companies a lot of money, the corporates a lot of money. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jazakallah khair for coming to another episode at the cave. So the topic today is the Euros. So obviously, unless you're living in a cave and you don't know there's a football tournament happening, then you wouldn't know. But everyone actually should know that there is a tournament happening in Germany. It happens every 2 years, and it's happening in Germany this year. So it started in Germany already, still in the group stages. I want to make a disclaimer as well. You know, I'm not going to be here to bash football. As a person that likes watching the football, likes playing football, I'm not going to be here preaching that don't watch it, don't play it. But there's a moderation in football, and that's what I'm really talking about. So just that disclaimer, so that you don't go away from here thinking that I'm talking about football, bashing it, but then he also watches it, he also plays it, so just keep that in mind as well. This tournament, like the World Cup, is every 4 years. The Euros obviously has other teams in it. I don't know how the Zionists and how Turkey are involved in Europe, but they are also part of the European tournament, even though some could say they're not in Europe as per se. But the Euros happened, and we are here, and it's an interesting time. You know what it is if you look at people watching it, playing it, or hearing about it, even the one that doesn't even know about football in your workplaces are talking about the Euros. There's people doing that Euro sweepstake, in it, like where they put all the teams in the bag, and then you pick it out. And you pay £10, sometimes it's free, but you usually pay some money, and then they pull it out, and they are going behind that team. There's some people even at work that don't even know football, but they're going to be religiously watching this game. People have taken annual leave. If you think about Scotland, Scotland is a small nation in the UK. They've, for the games, even though they might not do well, there's about 300,000 Scots in in Germany, trying to watch the game, trying to be, even if they can't get to the game, they want to be as part of the atmosphere. Everyone's wearing their shirts, everyone's going to the, drinking, everyone's, at work looking at the time, saying when is the Euro, trying to sneak in the game. It's a frenzy at the moment, and they've created that. But you know what, Euros is there, and it's created an atmosphere of where everyone has to be watching it. I know people in my workplace that never watch Premier League football. I only watch the Euros. They don't even know what's going on, but they're watching every game more than even myself. They're watching every single game on TV at the moment, and they're going crazy about it. Football is big business, and I just wanted to start with some stats of how big it is. So this European tournament, and this is from UEFA, expected to create 2.5 billion euros. That's how much money is expected to create from the broadcasters, from the sponsor deals, from the sales of tickets. 2.5 billion euros is expected in this tournament from revenue. The prize money is massive money. Football is, you can't separate football from politics and money nowadays. It's intertwined. It's big business. All the big sponsors are there, and the prize money for the whole of the European tournament, guess how much it is? Anyone? Guess how much the total prize money is?
Half a billion?
No. Huh? Billion?
5 million.
No. 5 million? No.
A billion?
No. 331 million euros is the prize money, total prize money. Each team will get 9.2 million euros each team. Every team that does well, i.e. progresses, scores, wins a game, they get 109 million bonus, performance bonus. The winner will get 28.5 million euros. So if they start from the scratch to the end, they get 28.5 million euros. It's expected that the UK economy, due to this tournament, will be boosted by 2.7 billion. This is how much it's going to be boosted. And just to give you a figure of how many people are watching the matches, they're approximately saying that 35.4 million people will watch the matches. That's a lot of people. So there's that finance side. You get the money, there's a big business, you get that, and then you got issues also that football brings. They say when footballs happen, and what happened last night, the England matches, domestic violence actually increases during football matches, and especially after England's performance last night, I'm sure that happened. So football has many different things. So, but what I'm going to talk about today is, does the Euros unite? What does it do? And what should we do as Muslims in terms of the Euros? And what should be our stance on it? If you look at the Euros, and you look at any sports, you have to look at it from the eyes that it does not unite. So if you think about it, when the Premier League happens, Arsenal hate Tottenham, Tottenham hate Chelsea, Liverpool hate Everton, Man City hates Man United, and then you got this lower league teams always fighting and trying to fight hooligans. So there's always a problem that on a local, national, and even international, you get problems of football hooligans, football violence, anger, and that happens a lot. And especially even with the Euros, you've seen it already. We saw Albania fans fighting Serbia fans. Big fight. You see them on X if you want to watch it. They're fighting on the streets of Germany. We had Turkey and Georgia fans punching each other live on TV, in the stands. So it creates problems. It creates and ignites that nationalism, that my team, my team, my colours, we support this team, you got to get behind it. That happens. The European Union is already split. That's why they created the European Union, because there's divisions among them in Europe. Some want to stay with the Euro, some doesn't want to stay with get out of the Euro. There's problems, and sports just amplifies that a lot. And football is one of the worst culprits in terms of creating that division between us and them, and that violence and that hatred comes out, because that's what it does. You support your team, doesn't matter, you unite. Those football hooligans that fight on a Saturday morning or Saturday evening in the UK, they will all unite to fight international fights as well. So you can see that they have that problem. And then you got that issue where, does it create, the division that happens, it doesn't unite. It creates people, it creates hatred, it creates animosity, internationally, people fighting each other. And then you got issues like, they say in sports you shouldn't bring in politics. But certain politics is allowed. Talking about Ukraine is allowed. Encouraging and supporting Ukraine is allowed. But supporting Gaza is not allowed. If you see what's happening in Germany, I haven't seen, except for a few Turkish fans chanting Palestine outside of the stadiums, there's been a blanket ban. You would even know that there's a genocide happening in Gaza right now with this tournament happening. But you can see it, it happens. People are dying, but you're allowed to promote Ukraine as an avenue, so that's encouraged. Flags are encouraged for Ukraine. Russia is banned. Serbia actually got told to calm it down. Serbia fans, Serbia are very close to Russia, they got told to calm it down with their chants in support of Russia. So it's very political. And you don't need to tell me that, throughout many years, many famous Muslim footballers have raised issues, whether it's the Uyghurs, whether it's the issues happening in Palestine, and they've been shut down. So there is a lot of hypocrisy, double standards when it comes to football, that UEFA or FIFA, they champion certain causes, certain issues, but certain issues about Ukraine, Gaza or Palestine, they do not allow that to come to the fore. So we can see that the Euros, actually is creating that schism around the world, around the Europe, and people are getting behind their team. But as Muslims, what should our stance be? As I said, look, I'm not saying not to watch it. You can support them, but I watch it. But don't go fanatical. You have to, as a Muslim, we need to know where our limits are with football. We need to know when to watch it. How far do we go? Some Muslims are buying the shirts, going all out, going to Germany. Some are even going to Germany. You can see in the crowds, they're going to Germany, taking annual leave, going to all the matches, or taking annual leave here, supporting their team, going all out. But that's where we need to be a bit careful that we do not go full on and become fanatical. Yeah, you might say I'm fanatical, but I got my limits as well when it comes to certain aspects. If I have to be somewhere and there's a match happening, I will be there. I won't go to watch that match, but it hurts, but I'll be there. So you have to have your limits. You have to have your red lines, and prayer times come, the matches are happening. People, that's when you know how addicted you are or how far you go to watch a team. So as Muslims, we should watch. You can watch it, but don't be fanatical about it. The problem with football is that it's political, it's on the international stage. We need to be wary as well that these things like football do not unite us, and they actually divide us even further. Muslims, Albanians hate Turks when they come to football. Everyone supports their own teams, and it doesn't unite us. It actually divides you more and more. And anything with nationalism will always do that. And that Europe has always had a nationalistic problem. The French always hate the British. You go back to history, you see how many times they've had wars. They've been at perpetual war for centuries. Forget Muslims interfering, they've been fighting each other for centuries. And then they talk about, Islam was spread by the sword, where they've been fighting for centuries themselves. The French hate the British, the Spanish hate the British and the French, all because of colonialism, all because of resources. They've hated each other for centuries. They will continue to hate each other. This is not going to go away. Just because, at the moment, this sports makes people a lot of money, companies a lot of money, the corporates a lot of money, the countries that host it, they spend millions, they make millions, so they will entertain it, they will look after it, they will promote it because it benefits them. But for the Muslims, sports is not the solution. We have an issue where people are dying in Gaza. We have issues where people are affected around the Muslim world, and people are focused on football, sports. We need to take a hard look at ourselves as well as, how we are spending our time, our energy, our resources, and everything. And, football, is passion. You can talk to people. I mean, even maybe in this room, people will know. People analyze football like a political analyst. They will know. At the moment, what's the discussion with the England team? People are discussing it like paragraphs on BBC websites, videos, podcasts. People are discussing whether Trent should be playing in midfield or he shouldn't be playing in midfield. People are discussing why didn't Grealish go? Why did this player go? Southgate should do this, Southgate should do that. That's the discussion people are having at work. Everyone asking, what do you think of, why did they play like this? What's the problem with England? Why are they sitting back? People are analysing all these things and they know about these players, they know about these stats. They are in depth. But when it comes to Islam, how much depth do we know about our history, our Prophet ﷺ, our heritage, our values, our role models? People look up to these footballers as role models. But what about our Islamic role models in terms of the Sahaba that we have? How much do we know about it, and how much do we spend time and energy? People spend a lot of time and energy in football analysing it, but how much time do they spend in analysing and learning about Islam and learning about its great history as well? And at the end of the day, this nation state is a nation state. It's his nations. That's why they call it. There's a league of Nations League football. There's a tournament called the Nation League football that is separate. There is the European, this tournament. You got the World Cup. You got the one in America. You got the one in South America and North America. You got one there. You got African Nations of Cup. African Cup there. You got the what's the one in where Qatar and Asia plays? I can't remember. Asia Cup. Asia Cup. You got that. You look at it globally, how many spots they have and how many tournaments they have. But we need to focus on that. We need to remind ourselves that these, at the end of the day, are nation states, and these sports are a diversion, and they will always have sports. But our focus is how we can unite as Muslims, and that is only through Islam and through the Islamic ruling system that we can unite our countries and solve our issues at the moment. But going on to the football, at the moment, this is going to continue. People are going to watch it. People are going to analyse it. But we need to take a back step and think, is this Euros? What is it about for me? What can I, how much should I watch it? How much should I not watch it? How do I get focused into it? People are getting too much into it. Some people are going crazy about it. But we need to take a step back and think about, where our priorities lie as Muslims. How far do we go down the line? And how far, does it really benefit me? Does it, the Euros, is it dividing? It is dividing. It's completely the opposite of bringing people together. It's creating schisms that it brings out the worst in people, and we've seen it year in, year out. Euros will finish, and then you've got the World Cup coming up in 2 years' time again. And then the Premier League is going to start in August again. Then you're going to get the local rivalries as well. So it's from a local, national and international that this ideas of nationalism comes to the fore all the time. And they've always had an issue with it. They always will continue to have an issue with it as it serves their interest to have it. So we just need to look at the forefront and be mindful of how we look at these sports as well. And look at the Euro. It's like there's always something. You can sit at home and watch sport after sport continuously. So when the Euros end, what's going to happen is Wimbledon's on, so everyone's going to start watching Wimbledon. Then you got the Olympics in Paris. Everyone's going to be focused on that. That's going to finish, and then everyone's going to go to the Premier League. Then you got boxing matches in between of Fury and Usyk, and you got that. You got World Cup cricket coming up. You got so many things in between, but it's a constant always that someone could just sit there and watch sport and follow it as it is and time waste as well. But we need to focus and we need to remind ourselves that as an ummah, our only unity comes through the Islamic ruling system, inshallah. Barakallah.